You don't wanna be alone.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are in my bedroom. I thought it would be fun to do a video in here this time. I was gonna do a makeup tutorial, but I feel like a really chatty mood today, so I was like, you know what, let's just chill in my bedroom and have a chat about dating and like my past experiences that were not so great. And I will share with you some of my bad dating stories, because why not? For those of us that are single, dating is probably the hardest thing to do these days. It's just really hard for people to want anything more than just fun, and there are people, you know, like me out there that just don't want that. Like if I wanted fun, I could find it so easily, but I want something so much more special than that. But I also want you guys to know that I'm also happy being single. I don't need someone else to make me happy, but I do miss having someone special to share my everyday life with, I guess. By the way, Mason is home today. There's no kindy, it's like a public holiday, so he'll probably come in here a few times. He's in his toy room at the moment. Yeah, I just want to have a chat to you guys about like dating and stories that I guess I can share with you guys. Does anybody else find that even just getting to know somebody new is really difficult? Like I have this thing where a guy will talk to me, one that I'm actually interested in return, will talk to me for like 3 days, and then I kind of just don't hear from them again. Like they kind of just drop off the face of the earth, and it's so frustrating because it's like now anybody I talk to, I just expect after a couple of days that they're gonna stop talking to me, and it shouldn't be that way. Like I shouldn't have to just automatically think that that's going to happen every single time, but it pretty much does, and it's a little bit frustrating. Now I kind of don't want to put too much into trying to get to know someone in the beginning, because half the time they're going to stop talking to me anyway. I haven't actually been on a date recently for the longest time, but it's probably just because of like all the drama that I've been through in the past. I'd been single for a really long time and I started dating this guy, and we got along so well. We dated for about 4 weeks. After a couple of weeks it just wasn't going very well, so I thought I'll pick him up and I'll take him to the Gold Coast for a day. So we go to the Gold Coast for a day, have like a really beautiful nice day out. I drive him back home, which was an hour drive from the Gold Coast, and then for me to get home it was another hour drive from there. But I drop him home and all of my stuff was there because I'd spent the night before. I had quite a bit of stuff because I have like my makeup bag and like all of my clothes and whatever, and I was trying to get down the stairs with all of this stuff, and he just sat on the couch and wouldn't help me, and I was like, what is the go here? I was like, oh, can you please just help me like take my stuff to the car? So we got back from our cool little date day. I'm taking my stuff down to the car. He just was so cold towards me and didn't really say a lot, and I was like, this is so strange. So I drove home thinking, oh, he might just say thanks for the day out, thanks for taking me home, hope you got home safely. There was nothing. I didn't hear from him at all. A couple of days later I get a message saying that he'd been staying at this girl's house, which was his ex. They'd been sleeping together in the same bed, and she was asking if we were still together, and I was like, well, yeah, we are. Anyway, so he cheated on me. Basically after that special date day I dropped him home and he went straight over to her house. Like he'd organized for her to go straight there and pick him up and go to her house, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I don't get how people can cheat on people. Like at least end it first. Like tell me you don't want to be with me, that is completely fine, and then go and do, you know, what you want. I don't get why people get in a relationship to just cheat on people. Like I'm completely not hurt about it, and I did cry for like a day. And then after that I was like, you know what, I deserve so much better than this, and I got over it really quickly. But I'll still always talk about it because I'm so sick of people like taking relationships for granted. Like there's no reason why you can't say to someone, look, I'm not interested in you anymore and I just want to be alone, and then you can go hook up with whoever the frick you want. Like don't do it while you're with somebody. I also just did a post on my Facebook asking anyone to ask any dating questions or anything that I can answer in this video, so I'll answer them as they come through on my phone. I'm on Tinder. I'm gonna admit that I've been single for a long time and it's kind of cool to just chat to new people sometimes, but there was this guy that I'd been chatting to for quite a long time. This is like over a year ago. None of these stories are really recent. Anyway, so he's on the Gold Coast with his mates, and he said, did I want to go there and party, celebrate the birthday, and meet him and his mates and just have a fun night? And I was like, you know what, that would be cool. I have no plans tonight. I do live an hour and a half drive from the Gold Coast, so I started getting ready, drive to the Gold Coast. Like he was really lovely. I get to the apartment. I'm not really shy about meeting new people because I photograph weddings and I meet the bride and the groom on the day, so it's not like I'm this shy person. So I get there and there was a whole bunch of girls there, all asking like how I knew him. We pretty much said we'd just been talking for a little while, but tonight was the first time that we'd met. So I kind of just chilled with the girls for a little bit. They were asking me questions, and then he was outside with all the boys. We decided to go out clubbing, so we do that, and he just didn't want to have like anything to do with me the whole night. Like, we got along fine, but I'd be like, hey, do you want to dance? And he's like, oh, I'm just like chilling with my friend. I said to him before I came, I was like, I don't want to like intrude, like it's your friend's birthday. I don't want to be there and just be in the way, like just tell me. He's like, no, it's fine, I'd really love you to come. So I do finally get there, try and just even have a chat to him, and he was just like really funny about everything. All of the girls that were in the apartment knew that I'd driven an hour and a half to meet this guy, and then one of them starts hooking up with him. Like, I look over in the club and she's all over him, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you girls were just talking to me and you knew that I drove from that far. And even some of the other girls were saying to her, this is so sad, like this girl has driven here to meet him and kind of like be his date for the night, and you knew that and you're just hooking up with him. And she was a stripper, by the way. So yeah, it was like a little bit frustrating that I drive all that way. The girls chatted to me, they knew that I drove there for that occasion, and then he hooks up with one of the girls there that was like a stripper. When you put effort into people, you're not always going to get the same effort in return. Like, there is no way that I would ever invite somebody to something I have, make them drive an hour and a half, and then end up hooking up with someone else that I met on that same night. Like, I would not do that to somebody. The fact that people think that's okay is just crazy. And it's probably another reason why I just don't want to give people my time, because things like this happen to me all the time. Like, people start messaging me. It takes me a while to get interested because I've just been hurt so many times in the past, and I finally start talking to them, and then it's like a couple of days later it just dies out, or we meet and then we just don't see each other again. Like, dating these days is so crazy. It's so hard, and I find it so much easier to be single, and I'm going to be single until somebody actually puts in full-on effort for me. My friend Jacinta just commented on my Facebook post, and she said, what is the worst pickup line I've ever had? Honestly, I know I've had a lot, but I cannot for the life of me remember any right now. But a guy just messaged me on Tinder the other day, and he said, how crazy is it that my last name is husband? And I said, is your middle name X? Because I'm so hilarious. And then he goes, my full name is I'm your ex-husband. I don't know. That was like, that's kind of like all I can mention right now because it's all I can think of. She also said, has anyone ever used an excuse to not meet up again, you or them? I have, of course, in the past when I don't want to see somebody, and it's usually me just telling them that I'm a little bit too busy, which is usually correct. But I'm usually pretty straight up. Like, if I don't see anything happening with someone and I really just don't want to spend time with them, like, I do try my best to just be straight up. I try and be nice about it, but I try and be straight up at the same time. People, for me, probably just use that busy line all the time. Like, oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I haven't spoken to you because I'm too busy. Oh, I can't do this because I'm too busy. Like, I hate that word. If someone ever says to me they're so busy, I just pretty much cut them off straight away, because no one is too busy to send like a 3-second text message. Like, come on. She also said, have you caught out a guy with a missus before the date? And I have many of times. On Tinder, there are so many taken guys that are playing up. If you're on Tinder and you were taken, you need to delete that app right now. I started seeing this guy, it would have been like maybe within a year of me breaking up with Mason's dad. It was the first person I'd seen after breaking up with his dad. He was really lovely. He spent a week at my house. I don't know how that happened. Like, he literally just like stayed at my house for a week, and his phone started going off one afternoon, like hard out, and I was like, what is going on? And it was his missus that he hadn't told me about. He said, I'm actually still in a relationship. We are going through a breakup. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you've been staying in my house for almost a week and you live with some other girl. I was like, it's like not okay. Like, I don't think it's ever okay to be breaking up with somebody, so he said, to be breaking up with somebody and then seeing somebody else. I always think once you break up with somebody, you need to give yourself 6 months, and then you might be ready for a relationship then. Like, don't ever just jump from person to person because you haven't had time to like fix yourself in between.
Bobby?
Oh, I don't know, darling. Would you like to come and say hello? Look. Say hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Mummy's having a talk. I just think that if you break up with somebody, you need to give yourself like at least 6 months to be alone, to like become your own person again and just be confident and be like yourself. If you go from person to person, it's not usually gonna work because you're like not giving yourself time to just be alone and do your own thing. And when you're still broken yourself, but you're trying to be with someone else to like heal that, it's just not going to work. And I hope what I'm saying is making sense. The next question is, how long were you with Mason's dad before / after you had Mason? So I'm pretty sure we were together for at least 2.5 - 3 years before we had Mason. We officially broke up about a year after Mason was born, but in that time we had separate rooms, so pretty much like through the whole pregnancy I would say we weren't really together, but we still lived together.
Okay, it's time to go hang your hats up. Aria, inside.
He just repeats everything that he hears at kindy. So Maddie Window said, do you believe in the saying, once you go black, you never go back? So basically in all of my high school years up until about 2 years ago, I only used to go for the brown boys. I don't really like date any anymore. Like, it's nothing against them, my tastes have changed and I don't believe in that saying anymore. Let's just leave it at that. I don't really have like a certain type. I guess if somebody treats me the right way, then I'll give them my time of day, but it's so rare to find someone that does that these days. Another question is, how do you find time to date being a single mum? Mason goes to his dad's most second weekends, so he at least goes there for 1 or 2 nights, and if I'm really wanting to go on a date with somebody, I'll organize it for that time. I don't really want to waste time on like temporary people, so I try and just hang out with my friends or like people I already know or do photo shoots. I find it really hard to want to give anybody my time if they're not making effort, so it's not really very often that I do go on like an actual date. If there's somebody that seems like they really do want to spend time with me and wants to take me out and wants to get to know me for a potential future, then of course I would organize that, and I would just make sure that it's organized for the time when Mason is at his dad's house. The next question is, how long do you date someone before they meet your son? It's not like a set answer that I can give for that one. It depends on the person. Generally, if they have kids themselves, they'll probably meet him quicker because they have like more of an understanding. Generally, I don't really introduce anyone to him unless I think they're actually going to be sticking around. What is the worst date experience that you have ever had and what happened? I forgot to talk about this story just before. So basically, we end up going to the Gold Coast. He was all dressed nice, like he had this nice white t-shirt on and some like really nice jeans. And I was like, oh, let's just go have like a little sit on the beach. So we go to sit on the beach and I sit down and he wouldn't sit down next to me. And because he didn't want to get his pants dirty apparently. So he stands up next to me and it was just really awkward. And I was like, why don't you just sit down for a little bit? Like, we're not really going anywhere fancy. Like, just have a little sit down on the beach and we'll have a chat and like get to know each other. And he wouldn't sit down. In the end, he finally sits down and we had a chat. And I just went to like rest my head on his shoulder and he's like, whoa, like don't do that, like you're gonna get makeup on my shirt. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not just gonna like wipe my face on your shirt and get makeup all over it. I'm not that stupid. And it was just really weird. Like, he just didn't give off a very like a welcoming vibe. Like, I'm a really chilled person to be around, especially for the first time. Like, I think I'm like a comfortable person to be around. Like, it's not awkward, but he was just so like standoffish and weird. And then halfway through our date, he was saying to me that I should ring one of my friends and tell her that I hooked up with him. And I was like, why would I do that? That's just so weird. Like, we haven't even freaking held hands or anything. Like, I'm not just gonna ring my friend and tell her that we've hooked up, because I think he knew her. It just felt like the whole date was so he could say he'd been on a date with me, but he didn't actually want to be there. Like, it was just weird. He ended up sitting down in front of me and I kind of went to just like give him like a little bit of a nice hug on the beach. And he wouldn't even let me put my arms around him. Like, he just kind of like moved back and was like really strange about it. So I was like, this is just weird. And I was like, I just want to go home now. We get to the car and I drop him back off home, and then I head back home, and then he starts calling and messaging hard out. And he was like, I'm so sorry, I wasn't myself. I went out the night before. I'd been drinking and I wasn't myself. And I was like, you know what, if I'd been drinking, I think I would still be like a nice person to be around. I don't want to give you any more of my time of day. Like, it's just not worth it. So I didn't see him again after that. That was probably like the worst date that I've been on. Like, it was just so strange and so awkward, and like not wanting to sit down next to me on the beach because he might dirty his pants, and like not letting me just like snuggle into his shoulder because I might get makeup on his shirt. My cousin from New Zealand, Haley, says, who pays on the date? Honestly, I always pay for myself. I find it really awkward being paid for by a guy, and sometimes I'll even pay for them. Like, that's probably the weirdest thing, but I just find it so awkward being paid for. Like, I don't think it should be one pays or the other pays. I don't know, it kind of, maybe it just depends on like the situation, but I'm more than happy to pay for myself on a first date. I don't expect to be paid for. Someone said, do you still get on with Mason's dad? We get along most of the time. We do have our differences a lot, and we do argue a lot, but at the end of the day, I still always do what's right for Mason. Like, no matter how his and my relationship is, Mason is still the most important person, so I'll never stop Mason from seeing his dad. And do I like being a single mum? Yes and no. I never wanted to be a single mum when I got pregnant. Mason, he's autistic, so it's not as easy as like some people may think it is to be a single mum. Like, it's such a difficult thing, and I never wanted to be a single mum, but I don't regret anything, and I'm not going to stay in a relationship that I'm not happy at just to try and have the whole happy family scenario. I actually do like being single, because obviously being separated from his dad, it means that he goes there most second weekends. I get to have my own little bit of me time, and then during the week I can just kind of do whatever I want with Mason and not have to like consult anybody else. Yeah, I do like being a single mum, but I do also miss having like that somebody special in my life as well. Like, I miss having the family days out. So just yesterday I took Mason to the beach at Mooloolaba, and it was really beautiful. It was just Mason and I, and it was just a little bit sad looking at all the nice little families, like, you know, the mum, dad and the 2 kids or whatever playing at the beach, and then there was just like Mason and I. So little things like that do make me sometimes think, you know, I wish I had that someone special, but I'm not gonna like rush into something that's not right. So I'm happy to be single until the right person does come along, but I do miss like the family moments a lot. I did start dating somebody last year in July. It didn't last very long like any of my relationships, but we were seeing each other for a little while, and then basically he decided he wanted to go away for work, which I was completely fine with. So he goes away for work, and literally that week, like when he was here, we were talking hard out. Our relationship was like quite good. We got along really well, and we were so close. He went away for work, and literally a couple of days later I just didn't hear from him again. I was like, was he in a car accident? Like, is he okay? I don't even know what has happened. I ended up getting his brother's number and then contacting his mum just to make sure that he was okay. She said he wasn't, that he would contact me when he was ready, and he just had his own stuff to sort out. The moral of that story is I just wish people would be straight up. Like, had he have just said, hey, like, I've got some of my own stuff that I need to sort out, I will contact you in the next couple of weeks or whatever. Like, just say. I don't get how people can just cut people off and not say anything, like without an explanation, when you're supposed to be like really close with that person. I don't think I've ever just cut somebody off without telling them what was going on in my mind first. It's really frustrating. So if anybody's watching this and wants to stop talking to someone or something like that, just be honest. Like, it's so much better to just say, I don't want to talk to you right now, like I'm not into this, or I don't feel that way about you, or like whatever the reason might be, say it so that person is not left there wondering. Because literally for about 3 months after that, I was like, what did I do wrong? Why have I not heard from him? Like, I thought we had like an amazing relationship. We were already talking about what we were going to do when he got back from like being in the mines, and I don't know, it's just so hurtful when people can just end it by just ignoring you and not even giving you an explanation. Like, I feel like everybody deserves like some sort of explanation. My hair is like biggest mess today. I know I'm not the perfect person to date. I do have my problems, and absolutely I'm willing to work on them. Like, I get anxiety so bad when I'm seeing someone. I have also dated someone in the past. It was probably like one of my first proper relationships. It was just such a toxic relationship, and getting out of that, like looking back on it now, I'm like, why did I stay around for so long? We were seeing each other for about 12 months. After that 12 months, he got sent to prison for grievous bodily harm. He got sentenced to 3 years and then got out after 1 year. And I waited for him for most of that time.
You like the apple?
Okay, I'll cut you an apple in a minute, darling. And then when he got out, he cheated on me like several times, and he would always like leave on the weekends and just leave me at home trying to find out where he went. And it was just so not the relationship that I see myself in. Hop off there, please. Honestly, I am so thankful for the crap relationships and like dates that I've been on, because now it has made me so super picky with who I give my time to. Mason wants me to cut him an apple, so I'm gonna go and do that, and I'll be back. I think that out of everything, what I want you guys to take away from this video is that, like, no matter how badly you have been treated in the past, don't let that affect anything in the future. Like, I guess if you've had a bad relationship in the past, you've had a bad date, don't just keep thinking that the next person you see is going to do exactly the same thing, because it's not really going to get you anywhere. Like, you just need to be positive. Every person is different, and you're going to have bad situations and you're going to have good situations. At the end of the day, if you just think of everything as positive as you can, like you're going to be so much happier. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and having like a little girly chat with me about dating and enjoyed listening to my stories. If you enjoyed having a chat with me today, then hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I hope to see you guys in my next video.